Good evening, Dungeon Masters. I'm Baron Durop. So you've decided to no longer be under-monetized by Wizards of the Coast President and CEO Cynthia Williams, and are looking for a new game to play and make content for. For a game that delivers on straightforward mechanics, character creation, and wacky magic items, but doesn't feel foreign for traditional D&D players, Runehammer's index card RPG delivers that tabletop experience. Even better, the game's deeply engaged and rapidly growing fanbase is always eager to try out some innovative third-party content. If you're already comfortable with any modern version of Dungeons & Dragons, most of the concepts in ICRPG will feel immediately familiar. Characters have the typical 6 ability scores called stats, but are more simply expressed as just the bonuses we would find in 3rd through 5th editions of D&D. Character movement is more loose and expressive, using a banana as a measurement scale for use with tabletop miniatures, and humorously, a full movement, similar to D&D's dash action, is colloquially called a double nanner move. Characters start with a defense value of 10, which increases with better armor, and a total of 10 hit points. While characters can choose between many bioform and class loadouts, the bulk of their abilities will come from loot that they pick up along their journeys. One of the game's first innovative differences from D&D is the way it approaches dice checks. Game masters are encouraged to set a target number for a given scene and broadcast this number publicly to players. It's this target number which serves as the DC for anything characters wish to accomplish within the scene, be it attacking a monster, picking a lock, or climbing a rope. This target number is shifted up 3 or down 3 values, depending on if the characters are doing something hard or easy, respectively. PCs might roll against an easy value if they have loot which assists in their action, or hard if the character is facing excruciating odds. While the game's recommended baseline target number is 12, resulting in an easy target of 9 and a hard target of 15, these values might be adjusted by the game master, for example, for the last few rooms of a dungeon which lead up to the endgame boss battle. This endgame encounter area might have a target of 15 instead of 12, which also ratchets up the difficulty of the hard and easy checks to 18 and 13 respectively. Any checks the characters make are always targeting these 3 values. Moreover, in ICRPG, there are 2 kinds of checks: checks and attempts. Checks are used to handle any kind of test that would result in an immediate pass or fail outcome. Jumping a gap, resisting being tripped, or recalling an antitoxin recipe quickly and accurately from memory are all good examples of checks. Attempts, on the other hand, are any kind of test where success is not immediately obvious or takes time to build into meaningful results. In D&D, this kind of mechanic is seen with attack rolls, damage, and hit points. In D&D, an attack roll is made to hit an enemy, and if that attack is successful, the player rolls damage and deducts that amount from the enemy's hit points, eventually slaying the enemy at 0 HP. Attacks in ICRPG play out in the same way, and are a type of attempt. The attacking player rolls an attempt to attack the enemy, whose defense value matches the scene's target value, and when hit, rolls something called effort for damage. Characters have 4 different kinds of effort to deal damage with. Firstly, basic effort reflects the most menial and desperate attempts of damage dealing. In detail, hand-to-hand combat and shoddy improvised weapons deal a d4 basic effort of damage. Typical weapons like swords, spears, bows, and axes do a d6 weapon effort of damage. Magical damage sources like enchanted crossbows or magic spells do a d8 magic effort of damage, and critical hits and some special abilities granted by magic items do an additional d12 ultimate effort worth of damage. Critical hits in the game are accomplished by rolling the typical effort damage die in addition to the d12 ultimate effort. While slaying a skeleton, for example, might require 10 effort worth of damage, this attempt and effort system elegantly applies to non-combat related tests as well, and are extremely useful for reinforcing the pressure of a time limit. No longer is lockpicking a simple pass or fail as it is in D&D. A thief with magical lockpicks might be able to use the d8 magic effort to chip away at the lock's proverbial hit points, while a sage without his spectacles might be rolling a d4 basic effort to look up that antitoxin recipe in an old and musty book. By applying these attempt and effort mechanics to things beyond dealing damage, the game helps foster a sense of pressure and drama when something threatening is just around the corner. Moving on, the character death and dying mechanics are also innovative, yet familiar. When a character drops to 0 hit points, they roll a d6 to find out how many rounds they have left before they're officially dead, and while dying, are unable to do little more than gasp their final breaths, much like a character enduring death saves in 5th edition. On their turn in combat, the player may roll a d20 and on a critical success, they spring back to life with a single hit point at their disposal. If their dying checks aren't that lucky, another character can run over to assist them, spending a turn dragging them back to their feet and making a successful check while shouting,
"Don't die on me, man!
Don't die on me!
Don't die on me, man!
will bring them back to consciousness. Next, character classes in ICRPG standard fantasy setting of Alfheim have refreshing takes on what you'd expect to find from D&D's character classes, including the Shadow and Hunter classes. But ICRPG also provides classes for a dystopian sci-fi setting called Warp Shell, a weird western setting of Ghost Mountain, dark superhero powers for Vigilante City, and the gritty prehistoric Blood and Snow setting. While characters from every class level up and choose a smattering of cool loot and starting equipment loadouts, the loot characters receive during gameplay is designed to be as surprising as it is helpful. Characters receive loot whenever they open chests, defeat monsters, or whenever they receive awards from patrons and quest givers. This aspect of the game really sets a Legend of Zelda tone, since Link's power is defined by the gear he accumulates throughout the game. ICRPG's loot tables are filled with zany tools and magic items that are designed to be rolled on as characters narratively receive loot within the game. Neither the game master nor the player will know what they're going to get. In a nutshell, without the right stack of loot on your character sheet, characters won't be able to get much done. The mechanics of the game encourages game masters to put loot in locations wherever characters might find some, all to keep the players exploring and pushing through the challenges ahead. Besides the loot tables, however, game masters are treated to a PhD level thesis on RPG scenario design. The highly cohesive, clearly articulated, and humorously no-nonsense game mastering methodologies presented in the book make Jeremy Crawford's contributions to the 5th edition Dungeon Master's Guide look like a C- middle school book report that was algorithmically lengthened by ChatGPT-3 to bulk out the volume's 321 pages. So you've gotten a hold of the Master Edition of Index Card RPG and have ideas for your own monsters, loot tables, character classes, game worlds, or adventure modules. But what permissions does the Runehammer license grant? I asked Hanker Infernale himself, Index Card RPG's author, to clarify. Some FAQs include, can I make and sell content for Index Card RPG? Yes, ICRPG asks all its fans to create and sell content for the game. All you have to do is include the made by tag on your creative work and don't copy pasta the art or text from the book. Do I ever have to pay you anything if I make money off the supplements? Runehammer will never charge you for your earnings as an ICRPG creator. We are all in this together. Can you ever revoke the Runehammer license? Recent events have shown us that even when legal promises are floating around, our security is tied to our integrity. I have no intent to revoke this promise or steal anyone's work. Is there a Runehammer community content page on DriveThruRPG? Thanks to the hard work of the Shield Wall, we'll be posting our community content page along with this video in order to consolidate everyone's work. The ICRPG community is ready to take it to the next level thanks to your contributions. In a nutshell, if you'd like to make content for an extremely strong and rapidly growing community of Runehammer fans, check out the link in the description below to get your copy of Index Card RPG, join the Runehammer Discord server, and visit the Runehammer YouTube channel. If you'd like to help me make more content like this in the future, please consider supporting me on Patreon or becoming a channel member. Thanks for watching, Dungeon Masters, and until next time, good night.